Yo guys, welcome back. It is Ripe again. Today we have episode 2 of our r/AskReddit series, and this episode feels like a little collaboration between r/AskReddit and r/entitledparents. So yeah, I have a feeling you're gonna enjoy this one. Children of I want to talk to your manager parents, what has been your most embarrassing experience? We traveled a lot when we were younger and would skip lines at the airport since we were kids. But now we are all in our early teens and my mom faked having a heart condition to skip the long line to get on the airplane. The flight attendant would have none of it and told us to go back to the end of the line. I still remember the smiles and looks of everyone there. My mom has been this person regularly throughout my life, but I do have one positive story with it. She and I went to eat at Portillo's when I was a teenager and we sat in the back of the restaurant where it was more private so we can eat in peace. About 10 minutes into our meal, 2 people come into the empty area and sit down 2 tables away from us. Turns out it was a manager and an employee that was getting written up. The manager was being a complete asshat towards the employee, criticizing and belittling them. My mom put down her food and walked over and started yelling at the manager for being such an a-hole. She went on a rant about how rude and wrong it was of him to do this in front of the public, 2 tables away from customers, and really let him have it. She demanded the phone number of the manager above him and we left after she received it. I was pretty embarrassed at the time, but as I got older I realized that she was standing up for that employee and how wrong that manager really was. I'm not 100% sure what she did with that phone number because I lived with my dad and I had to go home after that meal. I usually don't like when customers are this proactive, but on the other hand I also hate when people start to belittle others, so I think that was a good move by the mom. Right, so my mom and me went shopping and she dropped a melon on the way out. She then claimed it was bruised and demanded a full refund. When she refused, she shouted at customer service and demanded the manager. I just sat there with a "please kill me now" expression on my face. After that, one of the customer service employees gave me a chocolate bar, so 7-year-old me was happy. You know, here it's really interesting to me that a 7-year-old can understand the situation so well and then have that expression. I think when I was 7 years old, I would not have done that. I had a similar experience the other day at my pharmacy job. I had a guy come in with an ID that wasn't his, asking for the person on the ID's prescriptions, which were controlled medications. After accepting the ID card, I asked the guy to verify various info for the person, and all he could say to any of my questions was, "It's on the ID card." I asked the pharmacist what to do. He said to just get the man's personal ID so we can track him down in case this ends up being an issue. I asked the guy for his ID and he immediately gets all defensive and says, "I wanna see your ID," and literally refused to give me his until I showed him mine. So I did. I'm not paid enough to put up with these shady guys. I was with my parents on vacation and the hotel put charges on the bill by accident. My mom marched to the front desk and demanded to see the manager. There was a long line, but she cut right in front of it. The manager wasn't very helpful, probably because she was very rude. So my mom went to all the customers in line and told them that the hotel was a scam and that they were ripping us off with fake charges. She made a scene. The hotel called the police and we were escorted off the premises by actual cops. I died inside. I think some people just react the way his mom did it, but you can definitely stay calm in a situation like this and handle the situation better. You can be mad, but you should not be rude. But I think that's kind of an art form that some people are really good at and some people just suck at it. About once a month, my dad gets drunk and calls various customer service centers demanding stuff. Once he finally gets off the phone, frequently 45 minutes later, he spends the next few days telling us all about how he slew the customer service dragon, and boy, people sure don't appreciate their customers nowadays, blah blah blah. If you have worked for DirecTV customer service anytime since 1996, I apologize on behalf of my dad. Another story for all of you. I also remembered one time McDonald's was having some kind of 2-for-1 breakfast sandwich deal going on where the total was about $3. He gets his breakfast, drives 25 minutes to work, and then realizes he's missing one of the sandwiches and proceeds to call McDonald's customer support every evening after work for a week to complain about his wasted $1.50. They gave him apologies and they gave him coupons, but he just wanted to yell.
Does he call himself a Dragon Slayer?
I worked the return desk at Lowe's, and we used to have an old guy returning light bulbs if they didn't last the up to amount on the package. No matter how often you showed him that it said they can last up to that time and wasn't guaranteed that amount of time, he would never get it. Damn, I hate when managers do that, because it just further enables people like this. Sometimes it's necessary to put your effing foot down. The customer is not always right. I understand that they do it to avoid bad reviews or surveys, or just to avoid a huge headache in dealing with that particular customer, but if he did this at your store and got away with it, just imagine what he felt emboldened to demand at other places. It's just a big loop. Yeah, I have to totally agree with that. I mean, in America, I know the customer is always king, but I gotta tell you, if you come to Europe, especially Germany, the customer is usually treated like shit if they care for you at all. Sometimes they don't even pay attention to new customers coming in. When I was a young child on a long distance flight, my mom let me and my brother sleep on the floor. For safety reasons, the flight attendants told my mom that we were not allowed to sleep on the floor. She started to argue with the flight attendants, who then turned to the pilots. The pilots threatened to turn the plane around unless we get up from the floor, but she continued to argue. The pilots announced that they were about to turn around because of my mom, so all the passengers got pissed. Eventually, she caved in when she had all passengers and the flight crew on a Boeing 747 against her. Damn, if you ask me, that's a perfect collaboration between r/entitledparents and r/AskReddit. If that woman isn't entitled, then I don't know who else is. Not the child, but I think this fits. I had this awful, annoying, terrible neighbor who, because I'm a giant sucker, I was kind to. She asked me to come with her to dinner because it was her birthday, and I knew I was the only person on the planet who would go with her, and damn it, it's her birthday, so how could I say no? So she and I went and we brought our kids, all girls, one mine, two hers, and she makes her oldest do her math homework right there at the table. When the child asks her for help, mind you, this is like 3rd grade math, the mom says it's too hard, so I end up helping. The waiter is just fine and he comes by and takes our orders. She's already acting weird, but she always acted weird, so I didn't think much of it. The waiter comes by again and asks if we need anything. She dismisses him and waves him off and tells him no. Then like 30 seconds later, he turns to me and is like,
"Can you believe how awful that waiter is? He won't even refill my drink."
And just goes on about all these issues that literally don't exist. I'm like, he just asked if you needed anything. She cuts me off.
"I'm going to talk to the manager."
Oh God. She talks to the manager like this is the worst experience she's ever had in the history of her miserable existence. I'm in shock, and her kids have their heads down and mine is oblivious. The manager gives her like half off the meal. Oh, and the kicker?
"That's my half, so you only need to pay the rest."
Oh Jesus, thank you. I left a big tip and a note on my receipt telling them the waiter was great and apologizing for the complaints that were totally not warranted. It was the second most embarrassing restaurant experience of my life. Wait, so what's the first most? When my daughter was young, like 1 year old, I was out to dinner with my family and my then husband. Normally she was super well behaved, but for some reason she started to cry and she wouldn't stop. I tried to soothe her, but it wasn't working, so I told my husband she needed to be taken outside, but he refused because the food was being served. So already I'm embarrassed because now I'm that mom with the crying kid ruining the restaurant for everyone. Plus, this is right in front of my family, especially my dad, who I look up to and try to model as a parent. I couldn't just get up and grab her in that moment because the food really was being served and I would have knocked down a waiter. But as the waiters left, my husband suddenly slammed his hand over our daughter's mouth and nose and rumbled at her through gritted teeth to shut up. And his arm was super tense, as was his voice, and it was like he was trying not to crush her head like a grape. My eyes went wide and I grabbed her and took her outside. I never found out what was wrong with her, since she was fat, clean and all that, but I did see a dark side of my husband, and so did my father. My husband did not even come out to relieve me until he had completely finished with his food. By then she had calmed down, so I brought her back inside. I did not want to leave her alone with him anyway, and by the time I was able to eat, my own food had gone cold. Super embarrassing and also kind of terrifying. Damn, I have to say her husband sounds like a dick, but I've been digging through some more comments down in that thread and she said that she divorced her husband long ago. So her daughter is a teenager now and they still see him, but not that much, so she got over him. So guys, that's the last story for today, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of r/AskReddit, and please don't forget to like my video and subscribe to my channel, and if you can, please also click the bell icon so you don't miss any of my uploads. I'm actually so sorry that I always have to say that, but YouTube really makes you go the extra mile if you have a new channel. So until the next video, I wish you guys a good night because it's pretty late here right now, and yeah, I hope I see you guys in the next video.